questions answered, eventually. And little pieces come, here and there, and, but it's amazing. I think it's just so amazing that, and there's been so much evidence. It's like UFOs. It's like, how can we not believe that there's UFOs? We have all this evidence, and, but some people are just like, no, and, we're the only planet in the universe, and that kind of thing. It's like spirit activity is just so amazing to me, and it's much closer to me than UFO activity, because I've never been really, I never got into UFO stuff, but, not to say that it's not real. But spirit's always been around me, so it's something that I can relate to. But I just find it really exciting and fascinating at one level, at some level,
It's funny. I was just thinking about this today. It occurred to me, I work in the rocket propulsion business, and, we talk about these things all the time. And I was just doing the show prep work today, and I got thinking, I went, I wonder, if you were on another planet, alien life, there must be ghosts of aliens. I mean, if they do, which I fully believe they exist. I was around a lot of people who knew a lot of things, and pretty much, convinced me that all of it was basically real. And what's funny is if you take a look at the UFO question, it's 13.7 billion with a B year-old universe. And to think that somebody hasn't cracked star travel by now is ludicrous. I mean, so, there's could be civilizations 2 million years ahead of us, and surely they're getting around, and they're probably stopping here for supplies and a snack, and then they head on to what they got to do, I mean, but I've wondered if any alien ghosts, I think things like this. I mean, and this is how I think. I go, okay, so you're an alien ghost. Can you just go anywhere, or are you stuck on the planet that you died on? I mean, what are the rules? I think the same way. I mean, to me, it's miraculous that there are ghosts in the first place. But then you got to look at the rest of the universe, and you go, how does the whole thing work? How does this all tie together? Why are ghosts? I mean, why do they exist? I mean, to me, it's just unbelievable. And and what's the game with this? I mean, when we go hunting them, and then they play games with us, and then they get all like shy on us. Why the hell do they do that? I don't get that. That's crazy. Oh, it's maddening.
They don't want to jump through hoops that easy. Who knows?
I don't know. I think that they just like to piss us off. I really do.
Yeah, they do become shy, and I've done some investigations, and I'll tell you, I'll walk into a house, and I'll know where the energy's at. I'll just know. I don't know how I know. I just like a magnet. It's like, okay, which way do I go? Well, I'll make a right turn, and this room feels good. This seems like physical activity. That's where everybody will be at one point, because that's a lot of times that's kind of a hot spot. But yeah, sometimes I'll walk in and I'll feel energy, but nothing on the EVP, and I'll get some orbs, but nothing, real substantial. Sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll get stuff and like just amazed, or it's just a personal experience,
How do you feel? I mean, I'm a sensitive myself, and a lot of the people who've been in my group have had various abilities, and but I'm not like one of those ones that can do it on a dime. I just happen to know when stuff's there. But sometimes I see them in my mind's eye, so I'm wondering for you, how does it work for you? How do you know when you're in the presence of something?
For me, it's kind of the same. It's I'll feel it. I'll just feel it, and then if I'm in a certain area, and especially if I sit and kind of do a little breathing exercise, like you're going to meditate, then it'll be like a video playing in my head, or I don't know, it's just like a knowing. Like I went to this one place, and we had it was a really interesting place in San Mateo, and there was a lot of activity there, and I felt like there was a lot of kids and a lot of men, and they were right by the water. And it was college kids. They're all kind of sharing this house. It's a big Victorian house. Yeah. And there was a lot of activity there. I mean, a lot of the investigators that are there, not all of them are sensitive, but everybody had their own personal experience. And I just really got the sensation like it was a mission. There was a mission here or somewhere close by, because there was a lot of men and a lot of kids, and it made me think of a mission, And then I was getting validation, and I was, we would take breaks because we got there really early, and I was talking with one of the girls that was also sensitive and didn't know it, and she's telling me stuff. I'm like, well, did you ever think that you're sensitive? And so anyway, I'm telling her what my mind's seen, and she's going, I've seen that same girl with the long black hair? And I said, yeah, she's always with this tall guy. Yeah. You know, and we're just seeing validations. So that's kind of what I see. And sometimes I'll hear them, you know, in my ear, like not on the EVP, but I'll hear them. You know how you felt when your Uncle Mike would kind of play with your back or touch your back or pull on your back?
Yeah.
When I hear them in my ear, that's what it feels like. It feels like a whisper. It feels like something blue and on my ear physically, but there's sound with it.
Now, how long have you been doing this? Because I've got a leading question here. So, how long have you been going in this direction? You know, just ballpark years of doing this.
Ghost investigation?
Yeah.
Oh, since June of last year.
Okay, that would tie in. Now, what's funny is I'm finding a kind of a common set of themes with investigators, and those of you in the chat room kind of throw some things at you here too on that same subject. As I've noticed a common set of themes with investigators where you know, someone will go out, start doing ghost hunts and ghost investigations, and all of a sudden they're paranormal. You know, not only do they have more paranormal experiences because ghosts are following them around, but their abilities seem to enhance. And in my own case, this happened where I'd had clairaudience my whole life, but it was not a regular thing. I'm much more clairaudient than I've ever been. I can hear them sometimes just right out loud, but it's always a short sentence and then it's gone. And it's a good way for me to know they're there. So I mean, it sounds to me like, you know, the same sort of themes seem to play out with investigators, you know, as they get repeatedly more and more exposure to this.
You know, and this is just my opinion, but the people are, if there are people who call themselves investigators and then are putting themselves into a group and actually going out and investigating spirit activity, I would tend to think that every single one of them are sensitive at some level, because something's drawing them to being, you know, I mean, how many people would go, oh my God, you know, they're afraid of ghosts, and then you're in a line of fire and you put yourself in a position of being contacted. I mean, you could potentially go to an investigation and you know, if you don't really protect yourself and keep yourself grounded, you know, you could bring one home with you. I mean, there's a lot of things that can transpire when you go on an investigation, which I'm sure people that do this sort of thing have got to know on some level. So I think that these people are sensitive. I mean, I think that, well, everybody is sensitive to some level. I don't like to use the word psychic because that's kind of got like a four-letter word. People say psychic and they're like, oh, you're a fortune teller, you know, so I try to stay away from the word psychic. But sensitives are just coming up everywhere. I mean, they're everywhere. And if you're doing paranormal investigation, it's only natural for your abilities. And then you're going to find some abilities, like just recently for myself, I've never really done this before. I've been interested in it, but I've never done it. So when I'm doing a reading for someone, like I'll use this for example. I was reading for a girl who contacted a paranormal group I'm working with in just kind of like, please help me, and just she started writing to people randomly. And she's in South Africa.
Yeah.
And she's like, please help me. I think I'm a sensitive. I've got ghosts everywhere I turn. You know, can somebody please just talk to me? And, you know, the manager at the time spread out the word, and I talked to her, and we became friends, and I started kind of mentoring her and talking to her. And I did a reading for her, and I started doing this, like, remote viewing, where I'm standing in her house, like the girl I told you about that was in my house, and I couldn't figure out how, you know, she was doing that. And now all my readings, ever since then, I'm standing in these people's homes, and I can tell you where your furniture's at, I can tell you what colors on your walls, like what pictures are placed where, you know, and it's not something I've done before. So yeah, I really do believe that we're all sensitive, and the more you use it, the more you know, participate or exercise that part of you, the more your abilities are going to enhance. Absolutely.
Do you feel another thing, a theme I've noticed, and I'll just run this by you, is that I've noticed too that if you do a lot of paranormal investigation, if you go into it so hard that you're kind of overbalancing yourself, if you will, you're kind of out of balance. I notice that these people tend to get ill more often, and
they tend to get what again?
They get sick. They're more prone to illness, and I've concluded that there's kind of a threshold, just in my own experience, that there's a threshold of how much I can do in a month, investigation-wise, because I think that, you know, as an investigator, and I run GRI, and I go out there and I